Imagine a quiet afternoon where the sun slowly sets on the horizon, dyeing the sky with soft orange and gold tones. The wind goes slowly, whispering between the leaves of the trees, like a kind murmur of its own creation. In the midst of this scenario of peace comes the figure of Noah, a deep man of faith, walking toward his ark, a solid refuge, promised by God in the midst of the storm that is to come. Just as Noah trusted the divine word, even when the world around him seemed to collapse, we are also invited to find shelter and tranquility in the presence of the Lord. The ark, which housed all the hope of the new humanity, reminds us that, even in the turbulent waters of life, there is a safe haven for our restless souls. May we give ourselves to this heavenly peace tonight, leaving behind the anxieties that weigh us. Take a deep breath, deliver your thoughts to God, and allow your peace to guide your dreams. In a distant time, when the world was still young and men began to populate the earth, evil had grown in such a way that it saddened God's heart deeply. People had moved away from the Creator's ways, allowing violence and corruption to dominate their actions and thoughts. The earth, which once reflected the beauty of divine creation, now cried silently under the weight of sin. It was in this scenario of moral darkness that God looked at Noah, a righteous and fearful man to him. Noah walked with humility and faith, living in communion with the Lord even in the midst of a troubled world. He was not corrupted by the voices around him, but remained firm in the confidence that God had a greater purpose for him and his family. God then gave Noah a unique and extraordinary mission: to build an ark, a huge and robust boat, designed to preserve life before the flood he would send to purify the earth of human evil. The divine order has been accompanied by detailed instructions on the ark dimensions and the necessary materials, showing that even in the judgment plans, the providence and care of God are evident. Imagine the scene: the sun shining intensely over the vast plain where Noah and his children were beginning to lift the colossal structure. The smell of fresh wood, the hammer's cadenced sound, and the constant effort of manual labor created an environment of silent hope and obedience. With each board placed, Noah's faith was strengthened, sustained by the certainty that that act of construction symbolized much more than a physical shelter. It was the foundation of God's promised restoration. Around, nature seemed to observe in a reverent silence. The wind blown gently, bringing with it the aroma of the wet earth and the plants that flourished nearby. The vast and immense sky witnessed the determination of that man who surrendered completely to the divine plan. While the ark grew in size, the expectation of the arrival of the moment the waters would cover the earth, transforming the known world into a Renaissance space. Noah, although aware of the magnitude of the task, faced the skeptical doubts and looks of other men who did not understand the purpose of that vessel. But serenity on his face revealed a faith that was not shaken by adversity. He knew that true security came from God, and that the ark would be the sign of divine fidelity, a refuge for the new covenant between heaven and earth. At night falling, when the stars began to shine in the clear sky, Noah and his family rested under divine protection, feeling the peace that only the presence of the Lord can offer. It was a moment of contemplation, where each breath became an invitation to trust God's plan. Even when the storm seemed imminent, the ark, silent and imposing, awaited the time determined by the Creator to fulfill his sacred purpose. In this scenario of preparation and hope, we are invited to remember that, in our own journeys, there are times when we should build our arches, be an inner shelter of faith, a fortress of trust, or a space for spiritual rest. Like Noah, we can find tranquility in the certainty that God takes care of us, even when circumstances seem uncertain or threatening. Take a deep breath, feel the serenity that involves this millennial story, and allows God's peace to begin to calm your heart. Noah teaches us that silent obedience, serene confidence, and full delivery are ways to cross the storms of life. Supported by the presence of the Most High, as Noah's ark took shape before the eyes of the world, the righteous man remained firm in his mission, sustained by a faith that surpassed all human understanding. It was not just a work of wood and nails. It was the tangible manifestation of the divine promise of redemption, a symbol of the covenant between God and humanity, even in the midst of the corruption that dominated the earth. Noah knew that the waters would come, that the intense and prolonged rain would cover the entire earth, destroying the ancient world, but bringing a new hope. In his heart, a silent peace dwelt, not because he ignored danger, but because he fully trusted in the faithfulness of the Lord. He understood that true security was not in the ark itself, but in the one who had ordered it to build. Imagine the scene of the sky beginning to darken, dense clouds forming on the horizon, like a heavy cloak that foreshades the storm. The wind, which was once a smooth whisper, now becomes stronger, shaking the trees and making rivers' waters rocked with restlessness. But inside the ark, there is calm, a sacred space where hope remains unshakable. Noah and his family, obedient to God's command, collected the animals, 2 by 2, 1 by 1, guided by an invisible and serene force that seemed to touch their hearts. Each creature, from the smallest insect to the majestic lion, found its place on the vessel, as if they participated in a great song of trust and salvation. The ark was not just a physical refuge, but a living symbol of divine grace that preserves life. At this moment, we reflect on how faith calls us to trust in the invisible, to walk in the dark, guided by the light emanating from the Spirit. Like Noah, we are invited not to fear the storms that life presents us, but to seek refuge in the word and presence of the Lord, which is our eternal shelter. As the first drops of rain begin to fall, a contemplative silence involves everything. It is as if the whole world arrested breathing, aware of the magnitude of that moment. The waters rise slowly, covering the mountains and valleys, cleaning the land from sin, preparing the ground for a new beginning. Inside the ark, Noah, sometimes silent, giving God every concern, every doubt, and receiving in return a peace that transcends understanding. Noah's confidence was not an act of naivete, but the deep expression of a heart aligned with the divine will. He knew that, even when everything seems lost, God is present, supporting his children with infallible love. And it is this same confidence that we can cultivate in our lives, a confidence that does not shake with the storms, but that keeps us firm and serene. Imagine the smooth heat of the light that crosses the cracks in the ark, bringing comfort and safety. The constant murmur of the rain outside is a song of transformation, an invitation to deliver our anxieties to divine care. Noah and his family rest, packed by this melody of hope, while faith surrounds them as a protective cloak. May this image inspire us to create our own spaces of inner peace, where we can rest even in the midst of difficulties, trusting that God is working to renew our lives. Take a deep breath and let this serenity settle in your heart, preparing it for a quiet sleep under the protection of the Most High. As the rain persisted and the waters grew, covering everything around, Noah's ark remained firm, floating serenely over the turbulent waves that seemed to swallow the ancient world. Within that sacred space, there was a silence loaded with faith and hope, where each breath echoed the confidence of a man who knew God's restorative power. Noah, amid the darkness of the storm, felt the warmth of the divine presence involving his family and the animals he took care of. He knew that the ark was not only a physical refuge, but an extension of the unshakable love of the Creator, who promised never to abandon humanity, even in the face of the greatest adversities. Visualize the constant sound of the rain hitting the ark's hull, a rhythm that resembles the quiet beats of a heart in peace. The smell of wet wood mixes with damp air, while the shadows move gently on the inner walls, creating an atmosphere of silent contemplation. It is a place where time seems to slow down, inviting reflection and full delivery to divine care. During these days of isolation, Noah and his family kept a routine of prayer and meditation, strengthening their ties with God and each other. The faith that supported them was like a lighthouse in darkness, illuminating the way to an unknown but full of promises. Right now, We are called to remember that even when we feel surrounded by personal storms, whether they are fear, anxiety, or sadness, we can find in prayer and communion with God a safe refuge. Just as the ark floated on the waters, our soul can be sustained by divine grace, which never fails. Think of the quiet strength that arises when we completely trust God, giving Him our concerns and resting on the certainty of His eternal love. The ark, immovable in the face of the storm, is a symbol of this spiritual stability that we can cultivate in our lives. While time passes, the waters slowly begin to decrease, gradually revealing the renewed earth. Noah, with eyes full of gratitude, realizes the fulfillment of the divine promise. He understands that God's faithfulness did not fail, and that the covenant made with the Creator is eternal. This scene reminds us that after the periods of proof and purification, there is always a rebirth, an opportunity to start over with renewed faith. It is an invitation to leave behind what weighs on us and embrace the future with hope and confidence. Take a deep breath. Feel the peace that emanates from this story of faith and perseverance. Allow this serenity to surround your heart and prepare your mind for rest. The presence of the Lord is with you, guiding your steps and calming your soul. As the waters of the flood slowly retreat, revealing the mountains and valleys previously hidden, Noah emerges from the ark with a heart full of gratitude and reverence. He is the first to step on the renewed earth, feeling the soft texture of the soil under his feet and the freshness of the fragrant air through recent rain. This moment is a silent celebration of the triumph of faith and God's faithfulness, a living testimony of hope that remains firm even after the most intense storm. Imagine Noah lifting your eyes to the blue sky, still clean from the dissipate clouds, while a rainbow begins to emerge, painting the horizon with its soft and delicate colors. This rainbow, promised by God, is an eternal sign of the covenant established between the Creator and all humanity, a commitment of love and protection that will never be broken. Noah, with a calm, emotion-filled voice, offers a sacrifice of gratitude to the Lord, recognizing that everything that happened was guided by the merciful hand of the Most High. Your family is by your side, sharing the same quiet faith and deep confidence in the future that God has prepared for them. This scene invites us to reflect on the moments when, after the passage of difficulties, we can raise our hearts in praise and recognition. Noah's faith reminds us that true security is in the relationship with God, which supports us and guides us for new beginnings, regardless of the storms we face. While nature awakens around, with birds resuming its singing and flowers blooming under the sun, we are remembered that creation is in constant renewal, just as our soul can renew itself through divine grace. The soft heat of sunlight touches the skin, bringing comfort and a feeling of rebirth. In this moment of calm and contemplation, we are invited to find rest in the presence of God, deliver our concerns, and embrace the hope that is born of divine promises. Noah teaches us that even in times of uncertainty, we can trust that God is preparing a safe way to us. Take a deep breath. Feel the peace that this story brings to your heart. Allow this tranquility to surround you, guiding your mind to a deep and restorative sleep under the love protection of the Most High. Today, as we contemplate the story of Noah and the Ark, we are invited to reflect on how this ancient account still resonates in our contemporary lives. In a world marked by uncertainties, constant challenges, and emotional storms, the message of faith, confidence, and obedience remains as necessary as in Noah's time. Just as he was called to build a refuge amid chaos, we are also called to create our own spaces of inner peace, spiritual arches where we can take refuge from the anxieties, fears, and uncertainties that surround us daily. This refuge is not made of wood, but of prayer, meditation, and communion with God, where we find the strength to face the difficulties. Imagine the constant noise of modern life, worries about work, family problems, unsettling news. All can become a storm that threatens us to take our balance. But, like Noah, we can choose to trust divine providence and seek a place of rest and security in the presence of the Lord. The ark symbolizes this spiritual shelter, a sacred space that protects and strengthens us. It is in this place that our faith is renewed, and where we learn to give our fears to God, confident that He is in control, even when everything seems uncertain. In the midst of daily pressures, it is important to reserve moments to silence the mind and open the heart to the presence of God. Whether by reading the Word, the silent prayer, or the contemplation of creation, these moments connect us to the source of peace that exceeds all understanding. Just as Noah trusted God when he seemed that the world around him collapsed, we are invited to cultivate a faith that sustains us in difficult times. This faith allows us to look beyond temporal storms and recognize that God is working to renew and restore our lives. Imagine by building this inner ark, every moment of delivery and confidence, one more piece of the structure that sustains you. Each prayer, each step towards divine love strengthens this spiritual boat, preparing us to cross difficulties with serenity. May Noah's story be inspired to be faithful in our journey, to trust God's constant care, and find rest in His presence. Take a deep breath, ... Deliver your thoughts and worries to Him, ... Allows your peace to wrap your heart and guide your dreams tonight. Now I invite you to comfortably accommodate. Close your eyes gently and allow your body to start relaxing. Take a deep breath, feeling the fresh air slowly entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then letting it calmly, releasing any tension that may still exist in your muscles. Allow each expiration to be a delivery, a let go, a silent confidence in God's care. Imagine yourself on the edge of a large, serene river, the calm waters reflecting the starry sky. The soft breeze touches your skin, bringing with it the delicate scent of wildflowers and the distant murmur of the leaves that dance with the wind. You feel the deep peace emanating from this place, a peace that transcends all understanding and reaches the tired soul. Visualize Noah's Ark resting softly over these quiet waters, its firm and safe structure, built with love and obedience. It is a symbol of divine refuge, a reminder that God is always present to protect us, even on darker and silent nights. As you remain in this place of serenity, allow your heart to open in prayer. Feel the presence of the Most High involving you as a mild light of light, warming your soul and bringing comfort. Repeat mentally, or in a low voice, these words of delivery and confidence. Lord, I give you all my concerns and fears. I trust your care and your faithfulness. May your peace, who exceed all understanding, keep my heart and mind. Guide me through the ways of faith and hope, and strengthens my soul so that I may rest in you fully. Remain in this state of quiet, feeling each word root in your spirit, bringing light where there was darkness and calm where there was restlessness. Let God's loving presence involve your thoughts and calm your feelings. As the night advances, remember the promises made to Noah that the waters would never destroy the earth, that the divine covenant would remain forever. Like that promise, the protection and love of God are eternal and within their reach at any moment. Before you conclude, inspire deeply once again, feeling peace descend upon you as a soft rain that purifies and renews. Exhale slowly, surrendering to the quiet sleep that comes as a gift from heaven. If this message brought you peace, strengthened your faith, or helped your sleep, consider supporting our channel, subscribing, and commenting which passage touched your heart, or which story you want to hear next time. Now close your eyes, and rest under the protection of the Most High.